Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on Game 2 of the Pro League playoffs between OGN, OnGameNet Sparkies, and STX Seoul. Game 1 was taken by STX, comfortable win for Notice over the ever disappointing Justin. This is between Hwasin and Shine. Hwasin starting up at the bottom right-hand corner of the map at the 4 o'clock position in orange. This is another TVT mirror matchup, and as I said, this is one of my pet peeves with the Pro Leagues, is the sheer mirrorage of the tournament. We've got Shine at the top left-hand corner at the 10 o'clock position playing Terran in red. This is going to be an interesting match. Obviously, for some reason, the coaches decided that they needed to put their best Terran players on this map, which is why we saw relatively lightweights against each other in the first match, and somewhat of an anticlimactic opening to what promises to be an epic matchup between these two teams. This should be a little bit better. This should be a little bit more evenly contested as well. Both these players have had decent reputations this season. Hwasin, obviously, with the more impressive CV, he's destroyed so many great players this season. He's beaten Jaedong. Significantly, he's beaten C, the player that everyone talks about. And it looks like we're going to have another early scout coming out from the OGN player. Very early SCV sent out by Shine. He is, however, I think it's probably more of a scout. It'll be interesting to see whether he does try and do some sort of a proxy build or whether he's just trying to get a really early scout off. Looks like he's actually building a Rax in the middle of the map, so it looks like we might be seeing another attempt at some sort of a push. Maybe it's that one Rax into CC push that we've been seeing so much recently. Hwasin, meanwhile, is we're actually seeing the refinery go down, so I'm not sure what the purpose of that off Rax is. Maybe he's hoping that if his opponent is going for a fast expand, that he can put some pressure on his opponent more easily with that and maybe float the racks over. I'm not sure. Anyway, he's not going to get too much gain from this. Hwasin now sending his own SCV out to scout. So Hwasin, yeah, has had a very impressive season. Shine hasn't been too bad either. He's been playing well for OGN and getting some key victories along the way. So this is really set up. This is Othello. I would have given a lot to see July actually play on this map. I know it's a heavy macro map. I know it's supposed to favor Terran in that sort of macro style, but I still think July would have been what it takes, especially maybe if the coach of STX Seoul had played a little bit more tactically, he could have anticipated that Shine, being one of the best Terran players on OGN, would be likely to feature in this matchup, and that he could blindside them by putting a Zerg like July in there, who would have been able to comfortably take this out. Obviously, the other argument is that perhaps he needed to have a Zerg player for that 2v2, and there was no one other than July. Meanwhile, so both players with fairly similar opening builds, except for the off racks by Shine. Both players starting to get their factories down, and it looks like we are for the first time going to be seeing a mirror matchup. Hwasin's SCV just now coming into Shine's base, so he's going to see that factory. I don't think Shine has managed to get his SCV into Hwasin's base yet. He hasn't, and now there's a Marine on that ramp trying to block it. Factory also going up for Hwasin. So Hwasin is going to actually deny the scout to his opponent. Rax now floating. Again, I think it was just a case of taking the chance with that Rax in the hope of catching his opponent off guard by Shine. He was hoping to maybe, if his opponent did fast expand, that he would be able to get somewhat of an advantage. Machine shop now going down. It'll be interesting to see whether we see any divergent strategy, whether either player decides to put a starport down or decides to go for the command center straight away. Proxy off starport by Shine. So Shine is hitting the starport at the 9 o'clock position at the National Expo off the 8 o'clock base. So he's putting a starport down, and obviously Hwasin isn't likely to have scouted it. Now Hwasin's going for the command center, so Hwasin could find himself in a little bit of pressure here because he hasn't scouted it, obviously, even though he's got a scout in his opponent's base. He's got the vulture out now. He's putting the factory down. It's just a question of whether Hwasin, I don't think Hwasin's got a scout anymore in his opponent's base because the two Marines are there, so he's not going to see it, and obviously the ramp now blocked with the SCV. He's not going to see the fact that Shine has first of all not put a command center down and crucially not really built anything else in his base besides, and that would have obviously been the clue. That was the clue between Flash and 4GG, but Hwasin is now trying to get up that ramp. He's using the SCV as a bit of a filter. He's managed to pick off one Marine, some great micro by Hwasin, and he's managed to break that wall. He's actually managed to get into Shine's base, and this is going to be critical here. If Hwasin can figure out that Shine really has not committed a lot of resources yet, he's got to have an idea that there's going to be something odd coming out. The first siege tank is out. Hwasin trying to do some damage to Shine's economy. He manages to pick off one SCV and some great Vulture Micro taking out those 2 Marines. Another SCV gets picked off. Hwasin managed to kill 2 SCVs before the hero Vulture gets taken down, immediately putting down the second factory. I wonder if we'll see an armory go up for him. We see the armory go up, so you can just see the mind games here. You can just see the level of skill of these pro players. Now, maybe that would have been in Hwasin's build anyway. Control tower also going up. I'm not sure if I saw an academy for Hwasin. I don't think I've seen an engineering bay either. So this is going to be interesting to say the least. And it'll be interesting whether Hwasin sends an SCV out to scout around the map to try and see if there is another building somewhere. He is still floating that racks up. He's got a couple of Marines. So now the siege tank is going to be barreling down, but Hwasin's got his machine shop up as well. He's now floating his command center over. I'm not sure how effective this attack is going to be for Shine, because Hwasin obviously is going to have a couple of Goliaths in play, and I don't think it will be too difficult for him. I think he still has a small chance of doing a little bit of damage, but Hwasin looks to me like he's going to be taking the lead. Now starting up the second refinery as well, so he's going to get that second gas going quite early on, and going to try and maximize his economic output. The armory is up. I have a feeling that Hwasin is now building that academy just to north of that army. No, it's another supply depot, so no academy yet. So Hwasin not aware of the raids. He's put down the army just to be safe, and he's put down the second factory. He's going to have Goliaths at the ready quite comfortably, but at the same time he's not going to have the detection. Now putting on the starport. Now the raid arrives. There's going to be some harass to Hwasin's economy, but one of the key things to realize, and I think this is what, and the Goliaths pop out just in time. Cloaking technology obviously not yet available for Shine, and really Hwasin, to my view, has taken a very strong lead in this matchup now. I've never been a fan of the Wraith Rush of early cloak raids. The only advantage I feel of that early starport with control tower is for maneuverability, where you can get that those drop ships out earlier than your opponent and use perhaps that maneuverability to gain an advantage. But in my view, the advantage that you gain, and now Hwasin scouting around with the Goliaths trying to find that starport, I think is a pretty good idea where it might be, where his opponent is likely to hide it, as in where he would have hidden it if he was doing the same thing. Now the raids continue to harass Academy, meanwhile going down in Hwasin's National Expo. No pressure at all from Shine, obviously, but in my view, it's just not a profitable strategy to go for these raids, because the amount of damage you can inflict on a Terran who's got a second early command center and is macroing heavily and is pumping SCVs from both places is just not going to really be enough. Now, the Comsat's going up for Hwasin. In a moment he's going to have scan, and those raids are going to be ushered away. And I think Hwasin might have actually gotten one of his Goliaths to that starport at the 9 o'clock position, and that's obviously going to be disastrous for Shine, because he's now going to be forced to lift that starport, which is actually going to put him behind in terms of having drop tech. So Hwasin, in my view, has taken a very, and Hwasin now has also got a couple of siege tanks out ready to push out. So Hwasin in a very strong position. The amount of damage that his opponent has done to his SCVs is quite literally negligible. 3 tanks out for Shine. He's now only putting his second factory down, obviously having committed resources to those raids into that starport. Actually, Hwasin hasn't scouted that, but I think he's going to get his siege tanks now in position, and he's actually going to be forced to lift that starport. It'll be interesting to see if Hwasin can maybe even pick that starport off with his Goliaths. Looks like that starport is building something, possibly another raid, possibly a dropship, but the Goliaths are going to be there in time, and now that starport is lifted, so he's going to lose at the very least that control tower, and that starport coming in a heavy fire. He's going to have to bring it the long way around, and really you have to feel that now Hwasin is in a very, very strong position in this game to win this matchup. He's got the advantage of economy, he's got the advantage of his army size on the ground, he's forced his opponent's starport to lift, and that starport is actually now burning, and there might very well be, and Hwasin's also got his dropship out now, which obviously I think that's exactly what Shine was probably hoping to build, and Hwasin now is able to go all out macro mode. He's putting his 3rd and 4th factory down, and I feel Shine is really now going to struggle in this map. He's got 3 siege tanks to defend his Natural Expo, but Hwasin is not the person who really needs to be taking too much initiative, but he's going to be in prime position to actually be able to do that because he's got that dropship out, and we do know that how vulnerable Terran players. We've seen a Terran versus Terran with Boxer, I believe, on this map, where the drops were very effective, and now Hwasin coming up to the south side. Obviously, Shine doesn't have a lot of units in terms of being able to defend everything he wants. He's bringing a couple of raids in. He's going to try and focus those raids on the dropship, and he's trying to focus the raid down. Drop by Hwasin. The dropship is probably going to get taken out by Shine. Shine takes out the dropship. He loses only 1 raid in the process, and that's critical. That's probably just saved his butt in this game. Shine has brought his 2 siege tanks, and he's just managed to hold his defensive line, and Hwasin is going to have to wait until he can get another dropship out. So Shine making good use of those raids, and perhaps that is the reason why we saw him go for the raids, not only just to pressure his opponent early on, but also to try and get some sort of air control, realizing how critical, and I didn't realize that was maybe the reason why he was going for that, but obviously the problem is that it set him back too much in terms of his macro, and now he's going for a double expand, it looks like, unless I was looking at Hwasin there, actually it's not a double extend, he's just going for the command center at his at the 12 o'clock expo, just at the expo outside of his main, just south of the 12 o'clock position. But Hwasin, with a vastly superior force, it would seem, on the ground, if that drop had gone in, you have to give a lot of props to Shine for spotting that and defending it, because I really believe if that dropship had stayed alive, that would have been pretty much GG for Shine. Hwasin now also taking his expo, he's got another dropship out, and critically taking that dropship down also means that Hwasin is not really able to achieve that critical mass of masses and masses of dropships where he's able to maneuver his army around the map at will. Meanwhile, turrets going up for Shine, realizing that Hwasin has got the advantage in terms of being able to drop, and that he is in a slightly weaker position. He's having to adopt a much more defensive posture. Scouting SCVs going out from both players. Shine sending a Wraith out as well to try and get a scout off, and Hwasin picking off one of Shine's raids, trying to come at that expansion from behind, trying to come in from the second entrance of that expansion. He's managed to set a siege up. Shine has managed to just see it in time with that Wraith and get his tanks in position. So Hwasin unable to push ahead. Both players in equal defensive postures there, but